Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and Wizards released another announcement today that they screwed up printing of one of their products. Oh no. And I said Wizards, not like, the Magic the Gathering brand, because have you seen the D&D 5th edition books? I have a theory that the binding kept falling apart because the binding saw how many mathematical, logical contradictions and spelling errors there were in the book and just made a run for it. Those books just fall apart. The glue is garbage. So it is actually Wizards of the Coast, a brand that just prints low quality crap and constantly makes mistakes due to lack of testing and editing. I mean, they've made typos and spelling errors on cards. And FYI, not as often in English, but in other languages, because it's printed in 11 languages or whatever, they constantly make translating and spelling mistakes and grammatical mistakes. So, I mean, it's kind of funny how they're super pro diversity on that until they have to actually give a crap and put in some effort. Then it's there ain't that many people in France. Just run it through the cheapest French translating contractor you can find. So this is not exactly new in case you're new to the game that they made a printing error, but this one's pretty bad. Although I will say there are some very large holes in the information and the logic here that I'm going to point out. So the title of this one is Japanese Exclusives Not Included in the English and French Collector's Boosters. Whoops. So they say, due to an unfortunate internal error, which they make a lot, the 3 Ikoria Lair of Behemoth's Japanese language exclusive Godzilla series monster cards will only be found in Japanese draft and collector's boosters and as Japanese box toppers. They will not be found in English or French collector's boosters. So Italian, German, Spanish, what? The entire article, they only mention those 3 languages. I don't know why. Are they only printed in those 3? I mean, why would they choose France over Spanish, even Portuguese? Come on, that's got to be more people. So I don't know where to check, how to check, and I don't care, but I don't know why they keep saying it won't be in English or French, and then they keep saying 100% of the non-Japanese ones, or this will only be found in the Japanese ones. So somewhere in the middle is true, or they're only printing these in 3 languages and they just kind of picked 2. Very, very, very odd. But anyway, they say this exclusion from the non-Japanese collector's boosters was not intended, and as a result, our communications leading up to the release of Ikoria Lair of Behemoths contained incorrect information that we have since corrected. Now, see what that information is, we have no idea. Then they say, as printed, any English or French collector's boosters will not have an opportunity to contain any of the cards numbered 385, 386, or 387. So those are the ones up on screen. So I thought these were Japanese exclusives. I thought these were only sold in Japan, but maybe I just misread that because I kind of skimmed it. Maybe these were their Japanese language as printed, but they're in the English packs or something. I don't know. Well, whatever it is, I believe there's 18 total, and now you can't get these, so you can only get the other 15 or something like that. So this is on top of what I've heard. There's a rumor that they're trying to recall any product that would contain a Space Godzilla Death Corona. Which, that seems like they're going a little far. I mean, I get it. Release an article pseudo-apologizing for it and just being yeah, unfortunate circumstance, bad timing, oops, out of our control. But, mail them back to us so we can shred them. That's going a little far. It literally was not their fault, provably. They're receiving zero bad press about this. I don't get why there would be a recall. That's why I kind of doubt that the people telling me that they're trying to recall these are actually telling the truth, but they are allegedly store owners. So, take it for what you will. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can shine some light on that. But get this. The person who told me this said that the non-WPN stores, because they didn't sign a WPN agreement, don't have to comply with any recall. So if Wizards says, hey, send these back, we don't want a product going out called Space Godzilla Death Corona, we're going to, open the packs, take them out and reseal them or something, or just shred the whole thing and run a second run or something expensive sounding. If you didn't sign a WPN agreement, if it got to you in the mail, it's yours. That's US law, first of all. And secondly, you're under no agreement to send anything back that they deem in error. You didn't sign anything. There's no contract. So if this whole recall rumor ends up to be a thing that they're actually doing, wow, they just drove the price of that card up. It probably just went from $30 to $300. If they end up destroying 90 to 95% of these, this is going to be a super rare card. And you can only get it from people who bought it from one of the distributors that allows there to be non-WPN program purchases, which is not many. I think 2 of them out of the 6 in America. About to be 5 because Diamond Comics is probably going bankrupt. Yes, they deserve it. I really hope Southern Hobby goes out of business too. They're the other really trash distributor. By the way, this is much more likely a partial recall, where if a store opens some of them themselves for sale themselves, they can send in the singles that are Death Corona for the reprinted version in return. I think I heard that somewhere. So this might not be, oh, we're sending back to destroy every single sealed pack ever made. I do find that kind of hard to believe. By the way, you'd have to be insane to send it back. It's worth way more with the, I'll say typo, but it's not really what it was. So with this one, are these going to shoot up in price because you have to buy them from someone in Japan? Well, let's read the rest of the article. They say, we know that the prospect of finding one of these special cards in a collector's booster is a large part of the excitement for many, and we are deeply sorry for this error. Since this mistake was discovered only recently, we were not able to reprint the product with the affected cards. Instead, we'll be printing and distributing copies of these 3 cards to stores in the near future to make up for the error. That's pretty wild. I mean, yeah, that'll make up for the error. So if you are purchasing English or French collector's boosters from a local game store, they should be able to provide some number, and I guess that's arbitrary up to them, split it fairly, whatever, of additional copies of these cards at no charge. If you've made a pre-order or plan to purchase, please check with your store first. Yeah, because it's up to them how they distribute them. I think they're printing so many and sending out so many that it's not like anybody's going to want to be like, oh, it's a $50 card each, I'm going to hold on to them. Nah, I mean, they're flooding the market with at least as many singles as would have been found in the boosters. I expect the average store to just give out one of each per box or something. Then they said at the end of the day, if your local gaming store is closed or not, playing ball or whatever, just reach out to Wizards of the Coast customer support for more information. I love how they're just more information, not hey, we'll actually just mail you some singles. Otherwise, everybody would claim this. I have a feeling that if you're oh, my store claims they never got them or they're not on WPN or blah, 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 whatever, something happened, they'll probably just say, hey, snap a shot with your phone of an invoice saying that you bought a box. Okay, cool, we'll send you some. That's my assumption of what they'll do. And then the most BS statement in the world, Wizards of the Coast strives for high quality. No. And consistency in our products, and we regret that we did not live up to those standards this time. Well, how about the other 100 times? How about the 3.5 years of garbage curling paper that we had to suffer through? How about that one? How about the constant typos? How about printing cards like Oko? You guys have no quality standards and no consistency. How about the D&D 5th edition books that fell apart? What about those? Any comment on those? The program to replace those already ended, so a couple of my friends are stuck with ones that are falling apart. So that's unfortunate. I do wonder if these 3 were printed in Japan because their printers support the Japanese language as a font or something. I would assume it's rasterized before they print it regardless. Maybe they wanted it really authentic or on better paper with better ink at a better facility. And then a ton of these were supposed to be shipped to the other facilities or something and mixed in with the packing job, which sounds kind of far-fetched. I think they just sent them the wrong proof, or they sent them one where the font didn't render correctly, they sent a PDF or something as the final proof. And then they're it's just rendering as just square blocks. And then they either did print them that way and then took them all out, or the printing company emailed back Wizards and said, we need an embedded font in this file or send it as a PSD or something. And then they just never responded, so they cut them out of the proof sheet or something. I don't think the printing facility would be that dumb. I guess I don't need these 3 cards, but, I've worked in printing before. I know what could go wrong, and it's kind of odd that these are just the Japanese language ones, assuming that that's how they were going to print them. I mean, realistically, they probably just sent them the wrong damn proof. They forgot to include the 3 of these in the proof. AKA the final draft that actually gets printed. That's more likely. I'd say as embarrassing as this is, I mean, that said, this is what we've come to expect from them, so maybe not. They have more than made up for it, but there's really no absolute guarantee that you personally will be able to get your hands on a sufficient number of these that's fair for whatever you're buying. But that said, I mean, you'll probably be able to pick them up on the secondary market because they're probably shipping out tens of thousands of these to every different store. So now we're just left with what's going on with the other languages. If they're printing collector's boosters in other languages. I feel like they aren't. That's the only thing that makes this statement make sense. Yeah, whatever. They're a bunch of idiots. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.